What's up, investors? Welcome to the Semiconductor Show, where we talk about all stocks related to the semiconductor industry. So we have a great one for you right here. There were three major purchases in three separate stocks. The first one being AMD, the second was Intel, and then the third is Qualcomm. So let's just dive right into it. Let's start with AMD. Let's get my head out of the way here. So AMD just today, they started off at about 109, finished at 110. Actually, maybe about 108 since they went up $2 today. So what happened here with AMD? So they made a purchase. They made a purchase in the data center industry. So AMD said on Monday it would acquire cloud startup Pensando for $1.9 billion to bolster its data center products and capitalize booming demand from cloud and enterprise sectors. I mean, this is huge. They just literally bought Linux for $35 billion, just closed that deal, and all of a sudden they're going to buy something else, also related in the data center industry. So they're really backing this. And so let's just carry on. So Pensando, which was founded in 2017 by a group of 4X Cisco Systems Inc. engineers, counts on Goldman Sachs and Microsoft's cloud unit Azure as its customers. So AMD already works with Microsoft and Azure, so this is like just adding on to why Microsoft really likes AMD. The startup, that Pensando, the startup makes a fully programmable processor and a software platform which helps enterprise clients and data center customers to function more like cloud computing data centers, like an Amazon Web Service. So I guess I'm not sure if that's really competitiveness there between what they're trying to offer versus what Amazon's offering, because I believe AMD offers CPUs or GPUs to Amazon. I think it's their EPIC processor, so there's a little bit of a connection there. But let's keep going here. So in the cloud computing, customers can order as much computing power as needed in different parts of the world within a few mouse clicks. So that just shows how quickly that you can get this type of data center or cloud computing service. And this deal is expected to close in the second quarter of this year. So in the next like 4 months, that's what they're guessing, which is incredible compared to that Linux deal, which took like 2 years. So if this actually gets all wrapped up in, like 4 months, that's incredible. And so let's look into a little bit more, and this just refers to our the data center. So I want to take a little bit into it. So the CEO, Lisa Su, said on the company's February earnings conference call that AMD's data center revenue more than doubled in 2021. And so now, and that was prior to Linux, and that's now prior to this Pensando purchase that they bought. It was doubling already on its own, and now they're going to inject it with two companies that are top of the line in their own right. I mean, I can only imagine what this is going to do to their revenue in the near future. So the sales of data center chips accounted for a mid 20% of AMD's annual revenue last year. And so I pulled this up for you. So mid 20%, we're just going to say 25% just to keep it simple. So AMD had $16 billion in revenue last year, a little over 16.4. And so we're just going to count a quarter of that, which would be about 4.1 billion, is related to data centers, and that's going to be in this top line up here, this computing and graphics segment. So roughly half of that is from the data centers. And going back to our article, the demand for data centers is accelerating. It's expected to increase at an annual pace of 43.8% through 2027 to just $53 billion, according to a third-party estimate. So there's a lot of room to grow here, and they're saying, this number's kind of throwing me off, and you'll see why in a minute. I'll have to do a little digging if I can into this, but just sticking with what we're seeing here, $4 billion AMD has of that industry. They're saying it can grow to 53. I guess I'm not sure how much of the market share AMD has in this segment. It must not be that much, and you'll see why I'm saying that in a minute. But overall, this $4 billion, I mean, this should go through the roof. But let's move on to the second purchase. This was by Intel. So Intel actually made their purchase around like Tuesday, and so that's why I have the 1 week chart. And for whatever reason, it actually went down after this news. So I'm not sure why that would be, but in terms of just today, they did go up about 2%. The whole industry really went up. The whole semiconductors went up about right around 2%, really. And so Intel, what did they buy? They bought this company called Granulate, which is also in the data center industry. So these two are competing, and it's just interesting that they both made purchases. Now, the difference with this one is it hasn't been disclosed how much this was for. So they announced the deal to acquire Granulate Cloud Solutions, which Cloud Solutions is related to the data center industry, and they bought it for an undisclosed amount. So not sure yet how much it cost. I'm sure it was in the billions though. And so this Granulate, it's based in Israel, and they develop real-time optimization software. The acquisition will help cloud and data center customers enhance compute workload performance and reduce infrastructure and cloud costs. It aims to build a portfolio of software optimization tools with scalable capabilities to meet the burgeoning demand in the compute era. Granulate's autonomous optimization service enable cloud and data center customers to improve the performance of their deployments and reduce operational overhead and application costs. So just getting a little technical here. Basically what it's saying is Intel already has this service, and we'll get into their revenue here in a minute, but they already have this service. Granulate basically has, I guess, a little bit quicker of a service, and so Intel's hoping to acquire that type of intelligence, incorporate it into theirs, and then all of a sudden they're going to then shoot up in terms of performance. So just kind of carrying on here, so Granulate will be able to deliver autonomous optimization capabilities to more customers globally and rapidly expand its offering with the help of Intel software engineers. So this is really a team collaboration here, and it's just going to help Intel. Essentially, I'm not sure if Granulate will have its own unit. I have to imagine it's going to merge together because, like I said, Intel already has their system. So this is really just going to get incorporated and help bolster Intel's type of engineering. So to wrap this one up, Intel plans to rapidly scale Granulate's optimization software, including across its data center portfolio. This deal is also expected to close in the second quarter of 2022. And so for Intel, Intel's this DCG, that's a data center group, their revenues increased 20% year over year to $7.3 billion. So not only did it increase for AMD, what was AMD's increase? Do I have that up quick here? Doubled. So I guess it went from like 12% to 25%. For Intel, it went up 20%. And the reason for the smaller growth is you'll see right here. So this is Intel's 10K report, their annual report. Last year, they made $25.8 billion in this industry. And so, once again, I know Intel's the powerhouse of the industry in terms of revenue. So if Intel already has $25.8 billion and AMD has another 4.1, we're now at 29, we'll just round it up to $30 billion, and they're saying 49% growth in that. In this article right here, they're saying 40. What's going on here? There it goes. They're saying annual pace of 43.8% for the next 5 years gets us to 53. No, it doesn't. That's going to go way beyond that. So that's why I'm not sure. Maybe this number incorporates a couple different segments. Even though it's called the data center group, I believe it says right here it's communication, cloud, enterprise, and government. So I guess I'm not sure what the exact split is in terms of this 25.8. Something to look into. But if we keep this piece in mind, that 43.8% getting up to 53, I mean, that bodes well, very well for AMD, depending on what type of market share they're in. And also bodes well for Intel, depending on how much of this $25.8 billion is a part of that data center. But whatever their number is, I expect it to also grow as they incorporate Granulate into their system. Next, this is the final purchase that we have. We have Qualcomm. Qualcomm, I kind of wish this would have come out a little bit sooner, because right in here I think would have been a very good time to buy this company. But they did grow about 4.6% today, which, you know, that kind of puts us in line. But we'll get to the stock, the technical analysis towards the end of the show. So overall, Qualcomm for the week dropped a little bit, but this seemed like a really good buying point. I just want to point that out. So what did Qualcomm buy? Qualcomm, they completed the acquisition of Arriver from SSW Partners. The financial terms of the transaction haven't been disclosed yet. The acquisition would enhance Qualcomm's ability to deliver open, fully integrated, and competitive advanced driver assistance system solutions to automakers and tier 1 suppliers at scale. So they're going after the automotive industry. And that's kind of why I want to dig into Qualcomm. I want to make a video where I fully focus on them, sort of like a Micron or an AMD. I want to put some time into Qualcomm, really get into what they're about, where they're headed, and that way we can pick a solid buy point and understand what type of growth they're going to have. But just focusing on this, they're going after automotive. And I also like Qualcomm because they want to go after 5G. They're clearly in 5G. I mean, they deal with smartphones and chips in the smartphones. So them now also going after automated automotive driving, you know, that's like two key words here, two buzzwords for us. But to wrap up this one, so their Arrivers, that's the company. Arriver's driver assistance assets will accelerate Qualcomm's efforts to deliver a leading ADAS solution as part of its Snapdragon digital chassis platform, better positioning it for autonomous driving. Qualcomm would incorporate Arriver's computer vision, drive policy, and driver assistance assets into its leading Snapdragon Ride platform portfolio, building on its previous collaboration with Arriver, which is owned by Veneer. So they already have their own thing, and this should just really push it. And so I also wanted to share this little piece. So at least before this purchase, Qualcomm was saying that they were gonna, their estimate was their automotive segment of revenue was going to get to 3.5 billion in the next 5 years and potentially 10 billion in the next 10 years. Now, 3.5 billion for Qualcomm is not that much. We can pull that up real quick here. For Qualcomm is a big company, all right? They over $30 billion they made in revenue. Trailing 12 months, 36. So for them to say, I mean, don't get me wrong, $3.5 billion for that company, I mean, that's about 10%, so that's very good. But for them to say that over 5 years, you know, that's not, I mean, 10% growth in 5 years, that's not really doing it for me. But with this purchase, I'm very curious to see how fast is it going to grow now. We'll just kind of see. But the last thing I wanted to show you, at least about this purchase, was this is their 10K report, or their most recent quarter report. I want to say quarter one. And right here, here's their automotive segment for the last 3 months, ended back in December of 2021. They made $256 million. So if we just times that by 4, they made $1 billion. And so in the next 5 years, they were saying that they were going to essentially triple it, or 3.5x it. So that's really good, if you think of it that way. And so now with this purchase, I'm just wondering what their updated goal is going to be in terms of growth in that one segment. Is it now going to be double that? Is their goal now going to be go from $3.5 billion in 5 years to all of a sudden, oh, we think we can do it in $10 billion now? We'll just have to see how this plays out. They already had that Snapdragon in there, so we'll see how this kind of builds upon, the synergy between those two companies. But let's just kind of wrap up with a brief technical analysis. AMD we have here. We already drew these lines in before. We're currently right here. This little green line here, that's basically just Monday. So we almost don't even want to count this. Overall, we can still see we're in this downtrend. 110, we're in this range, which I think is a decent time to buy, between 110 and 114. Definitely a decent time. Anything closer to 100, yes, scoop it up. I would say if you can get it from 105 to 100, great time to buy. If you can get it on even just the lower half. So currently this little piece in here, that is 114 to 110. If you can get it at 107 or less, I think that's great. And currently it's at 110, so definitely good time to buy, in my opinion. It's good time. If you can wait for it to come lower, do it. But for me personally, I'm waiting for it to drop below 107. That's kind of like my buying opportunity with this one. Moving on to Intel. We haven't looked at this one in a while. This one is very choppy. It looks very choppy, so haven't looked at this one in a while. So let's draw in a couple lines here, because it definitely seems like it should get some. Overall, I'm definitely seeing a downtrend here. How long will this one kind of trend down? We shall see. So let's make this one kind of a thicker line. So yeah, we're definitely in a downtrend. It seems like it wants to pop up and then comes down. Overall for this one, for me, I'm just going to zoom out here. I hope you can see it fairly well. This one, I have basically I have a 3-tier system with this one. So this solid line right here, that's at 43. If you can get Intel at about 45 or less, great time to buy. Great time to buy. If it's anything higher than that, I would be willing to wait for it to come down. I would say, like, for me, the most I'd be willing to spend on Intel right now is something like 47. If it's any higher than that, I'm just not going to do it. I feel like there's going to be more times to buy this one, and to be honest, I would even say 46, like 46, 50. Like, if it's any higher than that, I just think I'll wait. I just don't, like, I feel like Intel is such a long-term play that right now you're going to get your time to buy it at that point, that 46.50 or less. And the reason I say that is because it's really been sideways consolidating here since 2018. Years, like 4 years it's been doing this. You can see it raises up to about 55, then it comes back down, stays at like 45, comes back up to 55. It actually went a little bit above that line, but came right back down. Then it went all the way up to nearly 70, and it did that twice. If it gets to 70, whatever I own of Intel at that time, I'm going to sell that thing at 70. And to be honest, 56, that's another time that I would consider selling it too. The reason why I probably wouldn't sell it is just because that's not a great margin. Going from 45 to 55, I mean, that's that's probably like between 15 and 20% gain. It really just would depend on how much of the stock I had, but because it goes through these cycles, and it doesn't go through it that quickly. I mean, it's done that cycle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the past 4 years. So once a year, It goes down to 45, then pops back up to 55, sometimes up to 70. If it went up to 70, yeah, I don't care how many I own. I could own one share. That's going to be the time I'm going to sell it, if it goes all the way up to 70 again. But as far as the short term, where we're at today, we're definitely on the downtrend, but it just has solid support at 43. So if I can get this one at 45, 46 would be my limit. 46 and less, I'll buy it then. So Qualcomm's like the new kid on the block for me, and so I'm still trying to get used to it. Definitely need some more research. So I originally had a buy point at 123, but then I marked another line at 150, and I drew these all in a previous video. So surprisingly, that 150 line seems to be holding up pretty strong. So I'm actually going to make this line a little bit thicker for us, just because, you know, it's held up there 2 weeks in a row just last month, and here it dropped below, but sure enough, it came right back. So currently, you know, I would say if you can get this one below 150, I would consider starting a position, and if it drops lower, buy more. You know, that's kind of the feeling that I have right now, and that's why I was saying at the beginning, whenever we touched on Qualcomm, that I kind of wished we could have got to this video like on Friday, because hey, maybe Monday maybe today we would have got some, but you know, I think there'll be more opportunities. And to be fair, you know, it's currently at 153, so it's like, it's not a terrible time to open a position. It's just, you know, I feel like there's other companies that are out there, so it's really your choice. So I would be, yeah, if it drops below 151, which is that dark blue line that we just made, if it drops below 151, okay, I'll start a position there. Won't be big or anything, probably just 1 or 2 shares, but that would probably be my time to buy. And if we just look at their after hours real quick, it seems like it's still going up. So, you know, that's just my personal preference. If it drops below to 151 or less, okay, I'll open a position in this. I currently don't have any. But yeah, overall, I'm just kind of scared about this super large green line. 1 week, this is like a $30 swing here in 1 week. And so let's draw one more line in here just for fun, because it seems like we've done this for all the other ones too. We are definitely still in a downtrend, and so that's why I'm still kind of holding out on us getting another chance to buy this below 150, because we're still in that downtrend, but we do have this support line. So this will be a big week. And once again, I just want to point out this green line, these are all 1 week bars, but this bar right here, it's only counting Monday. So we can't put too much weight into that one line, because it went up about 5% today. So it came down, you know, 6% in this past week, and it came right back. So we'll see how the rest of the week comes. For me personally, if I do see that it drops below 150 this week, I'll probably buy, like I said, 1 or 2 stocks, but that's just me. So that kind of wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, please subscribe. There's also a Webull account in the description below. If you don't have an account, that's what I'm using this stock analysis. That's the platform I'm using, Webull. So if you don't have an investment account, please use that link below. And if you do, you'll get 5 free stocks for opening an account. And that would just, you know, just want to share that with you guys. So yeah, that wraps it up. So I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.